Matt, we've got a lot of fights on this card that have been kind of swapped and moved around, and this one is kind of in that category. We have Ramazan Emeev making a next start out here with the UFC, originally scheduled to be taking on the undefeated Shavkat Rakhmonov, and I was really looking forward to that. A guy coming in from PFL with a lot of hype. He's out. In steps the German Niklas Stolze, and I'm excited about this guy. If you know me, you know that I like very obscure promotions. He's a guy that's fought for Octagon in the past. He was supposed to make another appearance at Octagon 16 this past spring. Of course, that canceled due to COVID. So he comes in here, and listen, you know what you're going to get out of Ramazan Emeev. Matt will kind of talk to that one. Let me introduce you to the Green Mask, Niklas Stolze, a guy that loves Twitch.tv. So maybe check him out there. But this is a guy that has a kickboxing background. He's competed with K1, 17-3 total record over there. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He can finish fights on the feet. In his last one, he fought through a lot of adversity. He got dropped, came back up, got the win. Did not look the greatest, but if you watch him, great combos. He can throw in a really sneaky kick with his back foot, and it'll pop right up there by your head. I'm sure we can think of some guys that can do stuff like that. Maybe not the capoeira type of guy or a Muslim Salikov, which, I mean, recency bias, that fight just happened. But Niklas Stolze is a guy that's really excited. And I think moving forward, win or lose in this fight, maybe you give him a guy like Danny Roberts or somebody that'll bring something out of him on the feet. A Nico Price, a Vincente Luque. I know I'm grasping at guys that are high up there. There's exciting fighters at 70. Niklas Stolze kind of inserts in there as one of those really fun guys. Trades out of La Onda Fight Club. He's a teammate of Peter Sabata. He's also split time with SBG Ireland. Now, I know that's an all-encompassing term. There's a lot of different SBG Irelands, but he spent there nonetheless. So that's a little bit of a background on Stolze. Really fun guy to watch. Really good combos, good handwork. And we've seen it where, you know, and I know, again, recency bias, Ramazan Emeev's last fight, Anthony Rocco Martin, he lost a decision in that one. Maybe you gave one round to him, but everybody on the internet, MMA Decisions, and the judges gave that fight to Rocco Martin. What can Ramazan Emeev do incredibly well? What can he do somewhat well? And what could possibly win him this fight?
He makes fights very boring, but it does work out to his advantage. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Ramazan Emeev knows what he does well, and that's wrestle, apply pressure, and it's really good forward pressure too because he is quite defensively sound. The problem is when he does fight those upper echelon guys, and not that Rocco Martin's, you know, a top guy in the division, but still a guy who's on that kind of borderline fringe top 15, top 20. Ramazan Emeev's going to have trouble with those guys, but against a guy in Stolze who's making his UFC debut, he's probably going to have a lot of success because he knows what he does well, and that's move forward, constant pressure, be really defensively sound, and then once he gets his hands around you, not that it's a wrap by any means, because we know that guys who are really good at scrambling, like Rocco Martin, of course, are good at getting back up to their feet, but what Emeev does well, get those hands clasped, take the fight down. I hate to say make it boring, but that really is his best way of winning this fight. He can kind of let his hands go at some points if he really thinks his opponent's cardio is kind of depleted, and that's where a finish would come from if it does come from Emeev. He's much more one of those guys who's going to get you tired and then go for either a ground and pound, which is kind of a volume-heavy TKO, than a guy who can just go out there, you know, throw a head kick, throw an overhand right, and put you to sleep. So it's really going to favor, every second that goes by in this fight is going to favor Ramazan Emeev, and that's why it's really hard to pick against him, because like you had said, level of competition's on his side, experience is on his side. Really, Stolze is the better striker, and he has the more finishing potential in this fight. It's just Emeev is so sound defensively and so good at wrestling, I don't think that's going to come into play.
That's it. Like, I'm really looking forward to this fight, and it's just because of the upside that I can see in Stolze. But if you look at Ramazan Emeev from his time outside of the UFC, a win over Anatoly Takov, who we definitely hold in high regard, possibly, you know, in a few more fights, you see Takov fighting for a middleweight belt, depending on what happens between Lima and Mousasi. And he also has a win over Albert Duraev, and it was really early on in Duraev's career, and if you're not familiar with him, he's a champ over in Russia at middleweight with ACB he was. And then you look at his time in the UFC for Emeev, he won 3 in a row. I mean, the first one, I get it, Sam Alvey, but after that, the 2 other wins don't really hold a ton of water. Not over the greatest of competition. And then in his last one, he loses to Rocco Martin. So for Emeev, the question marks are there. In terms of the odds, Emeev right now a minus 390 favorite. Stolze coming in plus 300. These odds have shifted massively in terms of Emeev. He opened as a 245 favorite, now 390. So you see a big shift there. Stolze opened as a plus 175 underdog, now at a plus 300. If you look over on Tapology, again, overwhelming amount of the fans, 90% going with Ramazan Emeev to get the win, 85% by decision. I think that's probably the safe pick there. I think that's the pick I would definitely go for. But again, Stutz brings a really exciting type of style into this one. I just think, like you said, Emeev can kind of be that wet blanket. Like we talked about it in the fight. Maxim Grishin taking on Marcin Tybura. That one happened recently. We kind of said, well, Tybura is a bit of a wet blanket, and Grishin can be a decent striker. What happened in that fight? Exactly. I think we're going to see a repeat of that here. I'm going with Ramazan Emeev. You're going to go with Ramazan Emeev as well. Really looking forward to this card. You got UFC debuts. You got guys that you haven't seen in a while. You've got a really good main event between Robert Whittaker and Darren Till.
So excited.
Keep locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt, as we always say. Let's get into it.